So Steve, have you ever driven an old tractor?
Yes.
Yes? How old? What was it?
The John Deere Model P.
Yeah, up at the museum.
49, 1950.
Sure.
And then whatever that red one was, that Farmall, I think, out at the museum.
All right.
Other than those two, that's it.
All right, so Mechanic Steve is going to be taking the old Allis Chalmers WD45 out for a drive because we're working on this beautiful thing, and this is where I've been working on it. So this is probably a little more modern and a little more standard than a Deere B, and that it actually has a foot clutch. It has a hand clutch too over there, but you don't have to worry about that. Always make sure this is all the way in, like until it stops before you do anything, because there's 60 years worth of play in that transmission shifter, so it's kind of hard to tell like when you're actually in gear and when you're not.
So I should push this as hard as I can until I hear a tink?
Yes, and the tank will be your leg because this thing was made to last for centuries.
Challenge accepted.
All right.
Okay, so this is like,
so that's for the hydraulics.
No, shh, I got this.
All right.
This is the altimeter.
Yes,
this is for the flaps.
I stand corrected. Yes, that's
this
exactly
for,
what that does. That's also your choke. That little, no, that's the gear shit. This thing. Yeah, it is a little jankety, but that's just how they built it.
Pull the choke.
Yeah, so the parking brake, you got to mash on these two together. The parking brake is, I believe, this one.
Okay.
You just kind of have to, here, step on this. It's best to practice this. You gotta, so the brakes need to be adjusted, so you gotta push these like all the way in before anything happens. Yeah, you got it. And that's for, I believe, the PTO, but I've only driven this a few times myself, so. All right.
What year model is this?
It's about a 1953 approximately. Now, I believe it's original. It was owned by a municipality. They didn't really, it doesn't seem like they really ever put that many hours on it. I really like this little tractor. So, all right, are you ready?
It's off to the side so you can actually see where the tires are going.
Yeah, you can see where the tires are going, and that makes it as miserable as possible to reach like all the way over the center of the tractor to where they put the clutch. Yeah, that's the hand throttle, and that's idle is all the way up. So, all right, are you ready for this adventure?
Yes.
Just pull the choke, make sure it's, yeah, I think it is.
Pulled.
All right, now flip the little switch there, hold in the clutch and push the button on the bottom. Does not like Mechanic Steve. Yeah, you need that one. Now remember, non-synchronized transmissions, you gotta come to a complete stop to change gears.
Where are you going?
I haven't actually thought that far ahead yet. Why don't you try it out one of its forward gears? I recommend first because it moves oddly fast. So idle is maybe what, 500, 600, 800 RPMs? Maximum chooch in this thing is like 1600 or something, so there's not that much adjustment.
Why don't you open the gate? I'll go down to the store and get us some sodas or something.
All right, are you ready for this? One job, Steve.
You're a synchronized transmission, Chucky. You gotta get them to line up.
You're getting used to it. Yeah, give it some gas. Cool.
The one thing that's the hardest to believe about this tractor?
What's up?
Is that Chucky actually bought a tractor that runs.
I know. This is not happening every day.
Doesn't need an engine rebuild, doesn't need a transmission rebuild.
No, it seems like it's all there and it works. You know, Steve and I were talking, there's two kinds of equipment, the kind that's inherently reliable and pretty much ready to go, and the kind that isn't. If you got the kind that isn't, the only thing you can really do is take like every last nut and bolt out of the thing, take it all apart, go through everything. But with this, hopefully, we just changed the last of the fluids. I just changed the antifreeze in it this morning. There's hardly any, if any, antifreeze in it. It looked mostly like just muddy water or whatever. So yeah.
I'm gonna drive it farther though.
Well,
I know we can't. I'm gonna go drive it on the road, but I wish we had like 100 acres or something and something to pull.
Oh, I'm working on that, but for now I got 10 tractors on very roughly a half acre.
Yeah. Drop it off my house. We could just circle around the 7 acres.
You know, I gotta have as many like semi-functional tractors and broken balers and whatnot as possible when I actually purchase the place.
I tell you what's oddly satisfying to me. This isn't for everybody, but I had that little Ford 1710.
Yeah.
And using it, pulling a disc harrow or the blade or the brush hog is extremely like cathartic. Like, for whatever reason, I just like operating old equipment like this. It's neat to be able to see everything move. And you know, newer tractors, like you move the steering wheel, you don't get to see any of the linkage anywhere. And it's don't get me wrong, if you're operating a tractor day in and day out, you're relying on it, then yes, I'd rather have the Kubota, enclosed cab, Bluetooth radio, nice air ride seat. But for stuff I do, I'm not gonna count on this stuff for a living. I want something like this.
Yeah,
So
it is a
guys,
lot of fun. It is a fun machine, definitely.
I like the slider.
Yeah, it's very gratifying. That's the best thing about older or old school equipment. You give that hand throttle a big crank.
Looks like my rotors on my truck.
Yeah.
I get comments about that all the time. You replace your rotors. I'm like, they're still on there.
Yeah. So is it everything you hoped it'd be?
It is. I like it.
I'm hoping to get a large, like probably a 18, 20 foot hay rake and pull it behind this thing.
I want to do it.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. All right, well, random video. Thanks for watching.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Yeah, fire's right up.